that goal. They're molding themselves, as it were, to be like it. Therefore, it's necessary that in such relationships a similarity emerges. That is to say, each of these people are trying to craft themselves. They don't have to do it consciously, but everything they're doing in respect to what they want is, as it were, molding themselves after that idea. And therefore they become like. Great idea of likeness. They become very much like the very cause. Now look what we have here. We could call her, for a moment, the effect. And we could speak of him as the primary cause of the relationship. Now, the cause is similar in its activity. The cause is similar in its activity. The cause, this idea, he is now going to act out. Agree? He is going to act out, using that as a model. He is going to act out, and in that action, that's his model. But look here. Then the cause is similar in its activity, and the activity is similar to the effect. Let's go back, take a look at it again. The cause, that idea, is similar. It's similar in its very activity, because it's going to be used as a model. There's going to necessarily be a likeness then between acting out and the model. The activity is similar to the effect. See, if he's acting in this way, and she accepts that way of acting, then doesn't it equally follow that the effect is having, the activity is similar to the effect? Because of one thing. The model is a potential source for everything they do. For the potential is there. See? It becomes similar because it always contains potentially within itself the model. It strives to be like the model. It acts in every way in order for that to emerge. So necessarily follows that out of such relationships a likeness and similarity emerges. Now look here. Have to change a bit. Introduce a new word. 2 new words. Instead of talking about Sarah and Manny, everything we've said is not any different than this problem. Here is Manny, the mind. Here is soul, Sarah, participating in mind. We have a relationship with our mind. All of the formal properties that you can study in relationships can be equally explored in terms of within ourselves, we have a relationship with our own mind. Now, that's rather peculiar. Which has which? Which is the cause and which is the effect? Does the mind possess the soul? Participate in the soul? Or does the soul participate in the mind? As you look at this beautiful diagram, could you decide just by the diagram? Could you say the mind is participating in the soul? There it is. Could you equally say the soul is participating in the mind? Implications always go reverse. If you say it one way, you can say it equally well the other. So any implication of A to B is equally true to B to A. So what are we going to do? I mean, do I possess the mind or does the mind possess me? What's going on? This is rather peculiar. Is one active and the other not? Pardon me. Let's try it. Now, we're not going to do anything different than we did with Manny and Sarah. We can go right back and talk about each one of the things we talked about before, and we can introduce it in the same way, using the very same ideas, because all relationships must contain the same kinds of categories. So let's first see what it might be like when we substitute soul and mind. Each soul can only know if it possesses its own mind. Right? In truth, only Sarah can know if she possesses Manny. Now, the mind which is possessed by a soul is the cause of its being able to know. Now, look here. When Manny is possessed by Sarah, that's the cause of their being able to know. If possessed by, participate in, all right, can be said of this relationship. Let's try it. When Manny is possessed by Sarah, well, that's the cause of their being able to know one another. Unless she's willing to participate, obviously, there would be no way in which they could be said to know one another. Put it back now in terms of the mind. Every soul can only know if it possesses its own mind. The mind which is possessed by the soul is the cause of its being able to know. Would you agree? If you have a mind, it's through the mind that you're able to know. Right? It's through the mind that you are able to know. If you're able to know, then the soul has a mind which is then allows it to able to know. Then would you not agree there must be a cause for it? There must be some power for it to know. There must be some activity. There must be some power to its activity. There must be some potential power for its activity to function the way it is. And there must be something in itself. Now, remember we were caught on this dilemma. Which is it? Is it just that we could equally say the soul possesses the mind and the mind possesses the soul, or which is the cause or which is the effect? It doesn't make any difference since it goes back and forth. One implies the other. Or is there some superiority of one over the other?